Hey everybody, what's going on? It's No Bicker TV, and today we have the Grammys. Now, as most of you have probably seen by now, there's a lot of talk online and a lot of backlash going on with this year's Grammy nominations, and if you haven't, I'll catch you up to speed really fast. So the Grammys put out their 2021 nominations list, and a lot of people think that there are some obvious names missing. This video focuses more mainly on the best rap album category. I'll put another two artists. I'll mention them briefly just to bring back around because it all wraps into the reason why I think these snubs happened, and why this category has the names that it does this year. If you're very familiar with the Grammys at all, and if you're a hip hop fan and you're very familiar with the Grammys, you know that hip hop has a very tumultuous past with them. From 50 Cent being snubbed for Best New Artist in 2004 to Evanescence to Macklemore taking the Grammy over Kendrick Lamar in 2014. It's been a point of contention that hip hop has, is that it seems like the Grammys never get it right. Other genres tend to feel similar, but really the culture is the main one that it's never, since the culture and the Grammys first met when they first started being recognized, it's never been seen as the Grammys got it right. So to move onward, I'll start with The Weeknd. The Weeknd is not nominated for Best Rap Album, and that's not the place where people feel he was snubbed. People feel he was snubbed because on his After Hours album, he had the single Blinding Lights, and people thought it was a front runner for Song of the Year, and it is not being nominated. And Weeknd is actually a past Grammy winner, nominee and winner, and he had some scathing things to say about them this year. He said, the Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and industry transparency. Now, what kind of transparency is he actually asking for here? He's asking for transparency on their selection process. What goes into, what points do I have to hit? What boxes do I have to tick for you to nominate me? For you to nominate this song, this artist, this album, what goes into it, because there doesn't seem to be a formula that goes into it each year. And that's kind of the point, is there is no formula. And I think the Grammys are working on a correction right now. And I'll get more into that in a second. Drake actually co-signed what The Weeknd said, and even put forth the notion that somebody should start a new award show. And in response to what Drake said, other people have voiced that they already have other award shows, the BET Awards, and they're not taken as seriously as the Grammys. Maybe put more stock into the BET Awards and take some stock away from the Grammys. Stop caring about them. Nicki Minaj even chimed in, never forget the Grammys didn't give me my Best New Artist Award when I had 7 songs simultaneously charting on Billboard and bigger first week than any female rapper in the last decade. Went on to inspire a generation. They gave it to the white man, Bon Iver. Hashtag Pink Friday. Now, this is what is going to feed back into my main point and the main reason why I think these snubs happened. We definitely don't want to downplay the fact of like white privilege and what skin color can do in the case of like Nicki Minaj and 50 Cent and possibly The Weeknd. But I also acknowledge that in the Best Rap Album category, we're generally seeing right at this time black artists being snubbed by other black artists, or black artists being picked over black artists who people thought were the shoo-in. And to fully get that, I want to go over let's go over the snubs first. People felt like, and one artist's label actually voiced this opinion too. People felt like there were a few artists that should have gotten nominated for Best Rap Album, including Pop Smoke, who has one of the longest selling, like he stays selling at the time of this recording, he is still selling between $40,000 and $50,000 a week, and his album came out about 6 months ago. Then there was Lil Baby with My Turn, who had one of the biggest albums of the year, and his label CEO, P from QC, actually made the tweet: "Whoever making decisions at the Grammys, you all disconnected like a motherfucker. You don't speak for the culture. Congrats to all the nominees. My Turn album of the year." And a lot of people felt like that was the main one that I'm seeing online is Lil Baby. Then you also have Lil Uzi Vert, who started the deluxe trend earlier this year, and also had a huge album turnout. It was a deluxe, but he basically dropped a double album that sold crazy. And then we have Roddy Ricch, who, in terms of debut album charting #1, was the biggest debut in history since 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. His album, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. So these are all big contenders for that spot. And people also, other mentions, I won't go into a whole lot, but, a lot of people mentioned Juice WRLD as well. And even 21 Savage's Savage Mode 2. But the ones I mentioned are what people thought would be a shoo-in, and the rap albums that were actually nominated were Black Habits by D Smoke, Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, A Written Testimony by Jay Electronica, King's Disease by Nas, and The Allegory by Royce da 5'9". Now, okay, here's where I want to get into this, and I want to get into the last snub. I'm going to take a sidebar and make notice that Justin Bieber actually commented on his nomination and said that he set out to make and made an R&B album, and he should be in the R&B category. And some people agreed, some people didn't, but online the general consensus was, well, you're white. That's why you got listed in the pop category. He got listed as the best in the pop with the pop albums, not in the R&B category. Now, this feeds exactly into the reason why I think the best rap album category, the nominees are the way they are. Yes, it has to do with him being white, but also the Grammys seem to be trying to take a purist approach beyond just skin color, but even content. But they're trying to take a purist approach to what I believe, what you could basically term black-dominated genres, R&B and hip-hop being the main two that I'm covering. And we're not going into like Afro beats or dance hall here, but let's put it this way, what they used to call urban. The urban categories are being, they're taking a very purist approach. And the best way to put it is, if you look at what I just named as the category, what I just named as the nominees, this is quintessential backpack rap. This is socially conscious, very lyrical, very classic feeling on some of these. Obviously Nas, Freddie Gibbs with Alfredo, great album, but this is basically backpack rap. And so what this boils down to is, I don't think it's a matter of they don't know who did so well. And go back to Nicki's tweet, she sold better than the person who won that year. And in previous years, they seem like the year that 50 Cent got snubbed by Evanescence, 50 Cent had the biggest performing album of the year. Get Rich or Die Trying is Diamond. And he got snubbed in many people's eyes. And not only did he get snubbed, But it's like, what else do you want me to do? It performed great. But they seem to take, oh, well, they had Evanescence. If you want to take a race factor out of it, it might have been white privilege. But if you want to take the race factor out of it, they tried to say that they created a better body of work. They're more groundbreaking, yada, yada. And I think that's what we're seeing this time around again. I think we're seeing, okay, we have many complaints every year that the most highest selling rapper wins. So a lot of people said a couple years ago that Cardi B didn't have a better album than the late Nipsey Hussle or Pusha T with Daytona. They thought Victory Lap or Daytona should have won, but Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy won because she was the biggest performing album of the year. She was everywhere. And people have, and going back to Macklemore winning over Kendrick, he had the Big Pop Thrift Shop song. But as far as the culture went, the culture was more rocking with Kendrick. So I think basically what this amounts to is just correction. I think the Grammys are trying to correct. I think the Grammys see all the talk online about how the Grammys always get it wrong. They always go with who's selling the most. They never pick it the right. So they're trying to correct it to where it's like, okay, let's not just base it off numbers and who did the most numbers. But in doing so, they went completely left. They went left field with it. It's all backpack rap. And no offense to D Smoke, I didn't know Black Habits dropped. The rest I do know. And I do like most of these albums. But the fact is, King's Disease is not even considered one of Nas's best albums. A Written Testimony received very mixed reviews, and it's more of a collab tape, even though it's considered just a Jay Electronica album. So I think what the Grammys did was they decided to, okay, we're not going to base it off just sales and who was more poppy, like who was more pop. We're going to take a purist approach with it. When in reality, there just needs to be a balance, man. Like, why couldn't Alfredo, Allegory, My Turn, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, and Eternal Ataki be on there? Or why couldn't Pop Smoke be on there instead? You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be a mix. Because I feel like if you want to take sales out of that whole category, you still have to factor in things like impact on the culture. You have to figure things like you do want to figure in content, figure in impact on the culture, figure in skill, like lyricism. But don't just make it one or the other. Don't just snub everybody that doesn't have the best-selling album just because you want to take a purist approach. It's elitist, and it just proves that the Grammys continue to get it wrong. I mean, I'm kind of with Drake. Actually, at this point, I really don't care too much about award shows. Award shows don't get a lot of stock from me. But, yeah, if you want to put stock in award shows, then maybe it's time to put stock in a different award show. Let's put a stock in, I think BET, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, obviously, but it seems like the Grammys have a history of this. Like, this seems like exactly what they had done in the past. They're just trying to correct again. Like, the Grammys can never find a middle ground. They always sway to one extreme. And it's showing this year in the snubs. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to. And you guys have a good one.